would your life look like if your dreams had the discipline they truly deserve? Are you believing in your dream, or are you just hoping it won't fail? What would happen if you chose courage over comfort every single day? What's costing you more, your fear of failing or your fear of becoming who you're meant to be? Can you persist without applause, without validation, without a single sign that it's working? If you knew that your breakthrough was just one more step away, would you still hesitate? Let's go back to the first question. What would your life look like if your dreams had the discipline they truly deserve? You see, everyone wants the reward, the success, the recognition. But dreams are not given, they are earned. And they are not earned through wishes, they are earned through war. A war against excuses, a war against delay, a war against every comfort that quietly kills your calling. Dreams do not respond to emotion, they respond to effort. Discipline is the language dreams speak. And the truth is, your dream is already within you, but until you wrap it in discipline, the world will never see it. Now, consider the second question. Are you believing in your dream, or are you just hoping it won't fail? There's a world of difference between belief and hope. Hope is passive. It waits, it wonders, it wavers. But belief, real belief, is active. It moves even when the road is hidden. It builds when nothing has been built yet. Belief is not waiting for the signs. Belief creates the signs. When you truly believe, doubt becomes a stranger because you're not waiting for permission. You've already decided who you are and where you're going. And when belief becomes your fuel, failure becomes your teacher, not your master. Every single person who has ever transformed their life had to face the same dragon. Fear. Fear of judgment, fear of loss, fear of looking foolish. But those who rise aren't fearless. They're simply not ruled by fear. They feel it and move anyway. That's the key. Action is the cure to fear. Movement shatters hesitation. And when you move again and again, you build something far more valuable than momentum. You build confidence. Confidence isn't given, it's built in the trenches of persistence, in the late nights when no one is watching, in the quiet moments when you choose purpose over pleasure, when you show up without evidence that it's working. That's where your inner power is forged. And what about purpose? Purpose is what keeps you from quitting when nothing makes sense. Purpose is what whispers, "Keep going," when the world screams, "Give up." Purpose is not something you find. It's something you decide. And once you decide, you align. Your mindset becomes your foundation. Your belief becomes your engine. And your action becomes inevitable. Growth is not an accident. It is a choice. It happens when you stretch beyond your limits, when you push past what's comfortable. And every time you grow, you don't just change, you transform. Because transformation is the evidence of alignment. It's who you become when your vision matches your effort. Success in the end is not something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. Success doesn't respond to desire. It responds to discipline. Dreams demand it. And so does your future. So ask yourself, are you waiting for your dream to happen? Or are you becoming the kind of person it cannot ignore? Because in the end, dreams don't come true for the most talented. They come true for the most disciplined. What would your life look like if your dreams had the discipline they truly deserve? That question, if taken seriously, has the power to break the patterns that keep you stuck. It's easy to say we want something, to imagine a better life, a higher version of ourselves, a breakthrough that changes everything. But dreams on their own are powerless. They don't breathe, move, or speak unless we give them life. And the oxygen they need is discipline. Discipline is not punishment. It's not restriction. It's not about living like a machine or grinding yourself into the ground. Discipline is devotion in action. It is love expressed through consistency. When you discipline yourself, you are not just forcing tasks. You are building trust with your future. You are proving to your dreams that you are serious, that you are not just interested, you are committed. Imagine waking up each day and treating your dream like it's not optional. What if you approached your goals the way a parent cares for a child? Nurturing, protecting, showing up even when it's inconvenient or exhausting. That's discipline. And when your dream is treated with that level of priority, it grows. It becomes clearer. It sharpens you. It reveals parts of you you didn't know existed. Strength you didn't know you had, focus you never accessed, and resolve that was buried beneath years of delay and distraction. Your life would begin to take on structure, not because someone told you what to do, but because you chose alignment over chaos. When you give your dream the discipline it deserves, your schedule reflects your purpose. Your habits begin to shape your identity. You don't wait for motivation. You move with clarity. And clarity creates momentum. Discipline removes guesswork. It eliminates the noise. It quiets the world's opinions and elevates your own conviction. In this life, discipline is what separates dreamers from doers. Dreams with no discipline are just fantasies. They may excite you for a moment, but they fade when pressure shows up. Dreams wrapped in discipline, however, become unstoppable forces. They outlast discouragement. They endure doubt. They expand your character. Because discipline is not just about what you do. It's about who you become in the process. And who you become is far more important than what you accomplish. Now, imagine this version of your life, where every morning starts with clarity and ends with purpose, where excuses have no room to live, where distractions get filtered out because they don't align with your vision. You're not pulled in every direction because your direction is already decided. Your decisions are deliberate. Your time is sacred. Your energy is invested, not wasted. You begin to rise above the old patterns. No more waiting, no more starting and stopping. You become dependable to yourself. That's what discipline gives you. Dignity, confidence, power. And when your life is led by power instead of pressure, by vision instead of reaction, by purpose instead of impulse, everything changes. So again, ask yourself with all honesty, what would your life actually look like if your dreams had the discipline they truly deserve? The answer is not a fantasy, it's a future, and it's waiting on your decision. Are you believing in your dream, or are you just hoping it won't fail? This isn't just a question, it's a mirror. It reflects the depth of your conviction or the shallowness of your comfort. There's a massive difference between believing and hoping, and that difference could define the course of your entire life. Hope is fragile. It wavers. It says, I want this, but I'm afraid. Belief, on the other hand, is rooted in commitment. It says, no matter what, I will find a way. And until you understand this difference, your dream will always live on the edge of hesitation. Hope is passive. It watches the clock. It waits for the right time, the perfect moment, the ideal condition. It avoids risk. It avoids failure. It's dressed in positivity, but it's hollow on the inside. Hope doesn't carry the same fire as belief. It's easy to hope. You don't have to move. You don't have to change. You just have to wish. But belief is movement. It's sacrifice. It's showing up when it's raining. It's pushing through when it's painful. Belief is the discipline of the heart. It's the fuel that keeps you walking toward something even when the world gives you 100 reasons to turn back. If you're only hoping your dream doesn't fail, you're still giving power to fear. You're still more focused on what could go wrong than on what could go right. You play it safe. You shrink your vision to fit what's familiar. You lower your standards so you won't be disappointed. And in doing so, you betray the very thing you claim to care about. Because if all you're doing is hoping it won't fail, then you haven't truly decided that it must succeed. True belief is fierce, it's active, it prepares, it plans, it practices, it moves, it doesn't wait for proof, it creates proof through persistence. Belief is not the absence of doubt, it's the refusal to surrender to it. And that kind of belief reshapes your identity. You no longer say, I hope I become successful. You say, I am becoming the person who cannot fail. That shift changes how you speak, how you act, how you treat your time. Belief trains you to behave like the person who already owns the future they dream about. When you believe in your dream, you stop negotiating with distractions. You stop asking for validation. You stop needing applause. You act with inner authority. You do the work when no one is clapping. You invest when there's no return. Yet you believe, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. And because you believe, you endure. You get back up. You learn, you adapt, you rise. So be honest with yourself. Are you quietly waiting for someone or something to confirm that you're good enough, smart enough, lucky enough? Or are you already living, thinking, and working like someone who knows the dream is inevitable because you've chosen to become the person it requires? Hope whispers, maybe. Belief declares, absolutely. And until you choose belief over hope, your dream will stay on hold. But when you believe, everything aligns. Your faith becomes your fire. Your effort becomes your evidence. And your dream stops being a distant possibility. It becomes your reality in motion. What would happen if you chose courage over comfort? Every single day, that one choice, repeated day after day, could change everything about who you are, how you live, and what you accomplish. Most people never realize how much of their potential is being held hostage by their addiction to comfort. Comfort feels safe, predictable, familiar, but comfort is also where dreams quietly go to die. Choosing courage, especially when it's hard, is what separates the life you have from the life you want. Courage is not loud. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is as simple as showing up, speaking the truth, taking the first step, saying yes when fear says no. It's doing the thing you've been avoiding because deep down you know that on the other side of that fear is your freedom. When you choose courage daily, even in small ways, you start to break the invisible walls you've built around yourself. You stop living in reaction to fear and start acting from intention, from purpose, from power. The truth is, everything you want exists outside your comfort zone. Growth lives there. Breakthrough lives there. Confidence, mastery, deep relationships, meaningful work, they all live outside the safe space you've created. And yet, most people live in cycles. They wake up, think the same thoughts, do the same things, and wonder why nothing changes. But when you choose courage over comfort, you disrupt the cycle. You challenge the limits. You stretch your capacity. This is not about reckless decisions. It's about brave decisions. It's about saying no to what numbs you, distracts you, and weakens you, and saying yes to what strengthens your mind, your discipline, your soul. Choosing courage daily might mean starting the business you've been afraid to start. It might mean having that difficult conversation you've avoided. It might mean setting boundaries, applying for the opportunity, or finally walking away from something that no longer serves you. Each time you choose courage, you prove to yourself that you can trust your own strength. And the more you trust yourself, the more unstoppable you become. Confidence is built on repeated acts of courage. It's not something you're born with. It's something you earn. Every time you act with courage, your mind records it. It becomes part of your story. You begin to see yourself differently. You no longer define yourself by your fears, but by your actions in spite of them. Choosing comfort might make today easier, but it costs you tomorrow. Comfort is seductive, but it is also deceptive. It offers you temporary relief while slowly stealing your long-term potential. Courage, though it can feel terrifying in the moment, leads to permanent transformation. And when you choose it daily, it compounds. Suddenly, you're no longer the person who hesitates. You're the person who acts, who leads, who creates, who grows. So, what would happen if you chose courage over comfort? Every single day, you'd rise. You'd break patterns that once held you down. You'd move forward, even when the path is unclear. You'd discover strength you never knew existed. And over time, you'd realize that everything you ever wanted was waiting, not in a perfect moment, but in a courageous one. What's costing you more? Your fear of failing or your fear of becoming who you're meant to be? That question doesn't just challenge your fears. It reveals the silent war happening within you. On one side is the fear of failure, a voice that whispers, "What if you're not enough? What if you try and fall?" On the other side is something far deeper, far more haunting, the fear of truly becoming who you were created to be, because that version of you demands responsibility. It demands effort, exposure, and truth. And it requires you to let go of every excuse you've used to stay small. Failure hurts. It wounds the ego. It shakes your confidence, but the fear of becoming your fullest, truest self cuts even deeper because it asks you to rise beyond everything you've known, to leave behind comfort, mediocrity, and the false safety of staying unseen. Most people don't fear failure as much as they fear visibility, because once you step into who you're meant to be, you can't hide behind limitations anymore. You can't blame your past. You can't rely on potential. You must act. You must grow. And that growth demands transformation. The fear of becoming is more subtle, more deceptive. It masks itself as humility, as caution, as not the right time. But underneath those masks is often a refusal to own your greatness. Why? Because stepping into who you're meant to be will separate you from old identities. It will change how people see you. It will force you to confront the lies you believed about yourself. And that kind of change, while powerful, is terrifying to the version of you that has been surviving on fear. But what's the cost of staying in that fear? The cost is your peace, your purpose, your fulfillment. Every day you don't become who you're meant to be is a day of delay, a day of silent regret, a day where your future self looks at you and wonders what it's going to take to finally choose truth over fear. Yes, failure is painful. But so is staying stuck. So is living beneath your potential. So is wondering year after year why you're still in the same place, living the same cycles, trapped in the same doubts. When you fear becoming who you're meant to be, you silence the call that was placed within you for a reason. You put limits where there should be expansion. You settle for coping when you were designed for conquering. And slowly that fear becomes a lifestyle, a mindset, a system of beliefs that convinces you to trade your greatness for familiarity. But the truth is this: the cost of not becoming is always greater than the risk of failing. Because failure can teach you, shape you, elevate you, but refusing to become robs you of everything. Your energy, your clarity, your destiny. You're not just avoiding fear, you're avoiding freedom. So ask yourself again, with full honesty, what's costing you more? Your fear of failing or your fear of becoming who you're meant to be? And whatever your answer is, remember this: only one of those fears leads to life. The other is just a slow death of your potential. Choose wisely. Can you persist without applause, without validation, without a single sign that it's working? This question strikes at the core of every dreamer, every entrepreneur, every person on the path to growth. In a world where instant gratification and external validation are the norms, the true test of commitment is not how you act when the crowd cheers you on, but how you behave when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, and when the results aren't immediate. And you continue to show up when it feels like everything you're doing is going unnoticed, unrewarded, and unappreciated. In the beginning, when you're pursuing a goal, it's easy to feel motivated. The vision is fresh, the idea is exciting, and you can almost taste the success. But as the journey continues, the initial enthusiasm often fades. The road gets longer, the obstacles seem bigger, and the immediate feedback you hoped for doesn't arrive. This is where the real test begins. In those moments, most people give up. They walk away because they don't see the immediate results, the applause, or the acknowledgement they were hoping for. But the ones who make it are the ones who can persist even when there's no external sign that it's working. They understand that real growth and success don't come in quick bursts. They come from relentless effort over time. Persistence without applause demands faith. Faith in your vision, in your purpose, and in the belief that what you're doing matters, even if you can't see the impact right away. It's a trust that the seed you're planting today will eventually bear fruit, even if it takes time. It requires you to be your own source of motivation when external praise is absent. In these moments, your belief in your own worth, in your ability, and in your mission becomes the fuel that keeps you moving forward. If you rely on validation, you're giving away your power. External praise is fleeting. It's nice when it comes, but it can't be the driving force behind your actions. Real fulfillment comes from within. To persist without validation, you must learn to redefine success. It's no longer about the applause or the pat on the back. Success becomes an internal process. It's about the growth you experience in the quiet moments. It's about the discipline to keep showing up, even when you're unsure of the outcome. It's about believing in the value of the work, the consistency, and the effort, even when the world seems indifferent. And this internal success, built on persistence and faith, is far more rewarding than any external applause. Think about the people you admire, the ones who've achieved great things in life. They didn't get there because they were constantly validated. They got there because they kept going. Despite the lack of recognition, the lack of immediate success, they understood that success is often a slow, cumulative process. And more importantly, they knew that the work itself, regardless of external results, was worth doing. Persistence without applause builds character. It shapes you into someone who doesn't rely on circumstances or others to stay motivated. It transforms you from someone who seeks validation to someone who is grounded in their own purpose. And that, ultimately, is where true success comes from. It's not from the moments of recognition, but from the quiet determination to continue, day after day in the face of uncertainty. So, can you persist without applause, without validation, without a single sign that it's working? The answer is yes, if you understand that the true measure of success is not external, but internal. And once you realize this, you'll find that the applause, the recognition, and the signs of success will eventually come on their own as a natural result of your unwavering persistence. If you knew that your breakthrough was just one more step away, would you still hesitate? This question, though simple, holds immense power because it forces us to confront the reality of our fears and doubts. So often, we stand at the edge of something incredible only to hesitate, second guess, or pull back. We convince ourselves that the timing isn't right, or that we need just a little more preparation, or that we're not quite ready yet. But what if that one more step, the one you've been avoiding, the one that feels just out of reach, is the key that unlocks everything you've been working toward? The truth is, breakthroughs rarely come in an instant. They're often the result of small, consistent actions that compound over time. But when we stand on the verge of a breakthrough, it can feel like everything is on the line. The pressure, the uncertainty, the fear of failure, They all make that next step seem impossible. However, what we often fail to realize is that hesitation itself is the thing that holds us back from what's waiting just beyond our comfort zone. Imagine you've been working on a project, pushing yourself toward a goal for months or even years. You've put in the effort, you've faced the obstacles, and you've overcome challenges that felt insurmountable. But now, as you near the finish line, doubt creeps in. The fear of failure rises. The discomfort of taking one final step feels overwhelming. You wonder if you should take a break, reassess, or even consider a different path. But the moment you hesitate, you distance yourself from the breakthrough that's within arm's reach. What if the only thing standing between you and success is your ability to push through that hesitation? What if, just beyond that fear, lies the opportunity you've been waiting for? The moment when everything falls into place. So often, the breakthrough happens, not because of a grand gesture, but because you refuse to stop at the edge. You push through the discomfort, the doubt, and the uncertainty. You take that one more step, and it's then that everything shifts. The reason we hesitate is because of fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being judged, or fear of not being good enough. But these fears are rarely as real as they feel. They are projections of our insecurities, shaped by past experiences and external expectations. In reality, hesitation is the thing that keeps us stuck in the same place, unable to move forward. When you learn to recognize hesitation as a signal, not of danger but of growth, you can begin to see it for what it truly is, a reminder that you're on the verge of something incredible. Think about the people you admire, the ones who've made a real impact. They didn't make their breakthrough by sitting back and waiting for the perfect moment. They didn't hesitate when they felt fear. They felt the fear and moved through it anyway. They trusted that the moment of hesitation was actually the moment of growth. They knew that progress was waiting on the other side, and that the only way to experience it was to take that next step. So if you knew that your breakthrough was just one more step away, would you still hesitate? Would you let fear control your actions, or would you push through, knowing that the breakthrough you've been waiting for is right there? In the end, your success is determined not by the moments of hesitation, but by the moments when you refuse to let them define you. Don't let fear stop you from taking that last step. Breakthroughs aren't reserved for the perfect people. They're reserved for those who have the courage to keep moving, no matter what stands in their way. In conclusion, the journey toward any meaningful breakthrough is rarely without challenge. We face hesitation, fear, and doubt at every turn, often just when we are one step away from success. The key to pushing past these barriers is the ability to recognize that growth happens outside of our comfort zones. And true progress requires us to embrace discomfort and act, even when the outcome is uncertain. Whether it's the fear of failure or the fear of becoming who we're meant to be, the real cost comes from letting hesitation control our actions. The moment of breakthrough is often hidden behind our resistance. Each time we choose to persist without applause, to trust in our vision without immediate validation, or to take that one final step when fear tells us to stop, we're not just moving forward, we're transforming. The success we seek doesn't come from avoiding failure, but from continually moving through it. If you knew your breakthrough was just one step away, wouldn't you take it? Wouldn't you move past the hesitation and doubt and trust that the journey you've invested in is worth it? The choice is always yours. Will you continue hesitating, or will you trust that your breakthrough is waiting for you, just beyond the fear? The most powerful choice you can make is to keep moving forward, knowing that persistence, courage, and belief are the true keys to unlocking the future you desire.